Welcome to our latest Wandering Walks of Wonder adventure. Today we're headed to Sedalia, Missouri. Sedalia is the county seat of Pettis County, as well as the home of the Missouri State Fair. Sedalia originally was named Sedville, which began as a vision in the mind and on the farm of George R. Smith. Sed was the nickname of Smith's daughter, Sarah. A friend suggested that ending the town's name with Elia was more pleasing to the ear. Smith's vision was to build a rail hub community. He successfully lobbied the Pacific Railroad to construct a line west from Jefferson City to Kansas City on a more direct overland route versus the more populated one along the Missouri River. He hoped the tracks would be surveyed through Georgetown, Pettis County's seat of government at the time. Failing this, he purchased land here, platted the town in 1860, and waited for the first train to arrive on January 17, 1861. Sedalia claimed 300 residents by the following December. Our walk here begins in the historic Sedalia Commercial District. This is a nationally recognized historic district that encompasses over 100 commercial buildings in downtown Sedalia. Most of these buildings were developed between 1870 and 1959, include many great examples of Italianate, Romanesque revival, and Art Deco architecture. As we go along the walk, we'll see some of the more historic buildings, such as the Hotel Bothwell, the Missouri Sedalia Trust Company building, the Lona Theater, the Federal Building, a Montgomery Ward building, and the Missouri Pacific Depot. Construction of the Pacific Railroad was halted in Sedalia during the first few years of the Civil War, but resumed in earnest in 1864. That same year, Sedalia published its first newspaper. The town not only survived the war, but prospered. It took over as county seat in 1865, and the number of residents grew to about 1,000. A brickyard was established in 1866, and 2 years later, some of the more substantially constructed homes and businesses were lighted by gas. And many of the buildings that we see along this historic commercial street were also constructed during that time. George R. Smith's vision of a rail hub was further realized when the Missouri, Kansas, and Texas Railway, the MKT or the Katy, began construction from Sedalia to Fort Scott, Kansas in 1870. A decade earlier, Smith's Tebow and Neosho Railroad had been chartered to accomplish the same task, but was interrupted by the Civil War. By 1873, Sedalia was connected by rail to Kansas, the Indian Territory, and Denison, Texas, as well as further points to the southwest and eastern United States. In 1896, a traveling piano player named Scott Joplin enrolled in the George R. Smith College for Negroes, once located a mile north of here. He wrote music and played in local clubs, including the Maple Leaf and Black 400 clubs. In 1897, Joplin composed one of his most famous pieces, the Maple Leaf Rag, which helped spawn the new genre of ragtime. In 1901, Joplin moved to St. Louis, where he taught, performed, and composed many other ragtime pieces, including The Entertainer. The Missouri State Fair, created by the state legislature in 1899, moved to Sedalia in 1901. Held every year since, except for the 2 years during World War II, the fair has always offered exhibits, activities, and entertainment. In addition to competitive judging of livestock, sewing, and canned and baked goods, the offerings grew to include concerts, automobile races, vaudeville acts, hot air balloon rides, and political speeches. The Lona Theater in Sedalia was built in 1920. It was a grand theater that was designed to rival any theater in a much larger city. The theater was built by a group of businessmen who wanted to provide Sedalia with a first-class entertainment venue. The Lona opened on August 12, 1920 to a packed house and great reviews. The first show was a silent film titled 1 Hour Before Dawn, and it starred H.B. Warner. The theater quickly became a popular destination for people in Sedalia and the surrounding areas. It continued to operate as a movie theater for many more decades. However, as movie theaters in downtown areas declined, the Lona Theater fell on hard times, and in 1986 it closed its doors. In 1995, the Lona was purchased by the Liberty Center Association for the Arts and reopened as a performing arts center. The Pettis County Courthouse here in Sedalia is the third courthouse to serve the county. The first courthouse was built in St. Helena, also known as Pinhook, in 1833. It was a small one-story building that was not well suited for the needs of the growing county. In 1837, the county seat was moved to Georgetown and a new courthouse was built there. This courthouse that we see today is a larger two-story building that was constructed in 1923. The large building we see here in front of us is the Hotel Bothwell. It's a historic hotel building here in downtown Sedalia. The Hotel Bothwell opened on June 10, 1927 by owner John H. Bothwell. The hotel cost about $400,000 to build and originally had 109 rooms. The hotel had a number of prominent guests in the early years, including Harry S. Truman in 1934, where he learned he had been selected to run for the U.S. Senate. Actors Clint Eastwood and Eric Fleming promoted the TV series Rawhide at the hotel in 1959. This ornate building that we see here on the intersection across from the Hotel Bothwell is the Missouri Sedalia Trust Company building. It was constructed in 1887 and is a four-story rectangular Missouri limestone building that's drafted and constructed in the Renaissance Revival and Romanesque Revival style. The building was originally built for the Missouri Trust Company, which was a financial institution founded in 1886. Unfortunately, the company failed in 1932 during the Great Depression, but the business remained open for other businesses. The building was acquired in 2019 and renovated to the style and look that you see today. We're now ready to walk by Sacred Heart Church. Sacred Heart Church was founded in 1882 by German-speaking Catholics who were a member of St. Vincent's Parish in Sedalia. The first church building was a small wooden structure that was located on the corner of West Broadway and South Ohio Streets, and that church was dedicated in 1882. In 1907, the original church building was replaced by a larger brick building. This new church was designed by architect Joseph Standen and was built in the Romanesque Revival style. Sacred Heart Church has been an important part of the Sedalia community for over 130 years. The Sedalia Public Library here in downtown Sedalia was founded in 1895. It was the first tax-supported library in the city. The library's first location was in a small room in City Hall, but in 1900 the library received a grant from Andrew Carnegie to build a new library building. In fact, it was the first grant from Andrew Carnegie to construct a library in the state of Missouri. The new building was designed by the architectural firm Shepley, Rutan, and Coolidge and was built in the Greek Revival style. It was dedicated in 1901. This mural that we see in front of us is a portrait of Scott Joplin playing the piano. Joplin lived in Sedalia for about 10 years from 1894 to 1904. During that time, he composed some of his most famous ragtime tunes, including the Maple Leaf Rag and The Entertainer. He also taught piano and published several instructional books on ragtime right here in downtown Sedalia. One of the more historic buildings in the downtown Sedalia area is the Sedalia train station, or also commonly called the Katy Depot. This train station was built in 1895 in the Romanesque Revival style. The station closed to passenger traffic in 1958, but reopened later to become a welcome center for Sedalia. I hope you've enjoyed your time wandering around Sedalia, Missouri on our walk today. If you have, make sure to hit that like button and also hit subscribe so you can see other Missouri related walks or walks across the United States. Take care now. Bye bye.